Hey everyone, and welcome back. You know I love it when you guys send in requests that really make us think, and this one definitely fits the bill. Google Apps script,
Oh, yeah.
specifically for conditional formatting and notifications.
Yeah.
Now, I know that might sound a little dry at first,
Yeah.
but trust me, the potential here is huge.
It really is. I mean, we're
Mm.
talking about turning spreadsheets into something dynamic, almost like a personal assistant keeping an eye on things for you. And
Right.
most people don't realize this is even possible.
Exactly. Okay, so let's break this down. I get the basic conditional formatting, like making a cell turn red if you go over budget. But app script, that takes it to a whole other level. I mean,
Yeah.
you sent over some really cool examples.
Yeah, basic conditional formatting is like a simple alarm. It just tells you something's wrong.
Right.
App script is more like a smart security system. You can actually program it to know which door opened at what time and who to alert. It's all about customization.
So instead of just yelling fire, it's telling you there's smoke in the kitchen, call the fire department, and get everyone out the back door.
Exactly, precisely. It's about giving you targeted, actionable information. Let's take a look at that budget tracker example that you sent.
Yeah.
With just basic conditional formatting, you might see that you overspent. But with AppScript, you can actually specify that you only want to be alerted if your dining out category goes over budget by more than 20%.
Okay.
But for groceries, maybe you want a notification if you go over by even $5.
Okay, now that's starting to feel really powerful. So it's not just about being alerted, it's about being alerted to the things that matter most to you, based on your rules. So how do these notifications actually work? Is it like emails popping up all the time?
Well, emails are definitely one way, but it's way more versatile than that. AppScript can integrate with so many different platforms. Like you could actually have a text message sent to your phone if your checking account balance drops below a certain amount.
Hold on, so my spreadsheet could literally text me. That's wild. I'm just picturing I'm about to buy some concert tickets, and my spreadsheet is like, hold up, you're close to your entertainment budget limit.
Exactly. And think about the possibilities for businesses. Imagine getting an alert in a Slack channel when a new customer signs up or if a project deadline is approaching.
Hmm.
It's all about making sure the right information gets to the right people at the right time.
Okay, this is already making me rethink how I use spreadsheets, but let's dive into that deadline example a bit more. I'm looking at the code snippet that you sent, and it seems, I don't know, pretty complex.
I get it. It might seem a little daunting at first glance, but if you break it down, it's really just about setting up some clear instructions for your script. This specific snippet is designed to check a certain column for upcoming deadlines, and then it triggers an email notification to a specific address a certain number of days before that deadline.
So it's like setting a series of if then statements. If the deadline is in 2 days, then send an email to this address. But it's got to be way more sophisticated than just a simple if then formula, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's about combining multiple conditions and actions. Like imagine you're managing a big project. You want to be notified not just when a task is due, but also if that task is marked high priority and assigned to a specific person.
Okay.
That's the kind of customization we're talking about.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. I'm starting to see how this could be a total game changer. Not just for simple stuff like tracking budgets.
Right.
But this brings up a question. What happens when you have, like, a ton of data? I imagine things could get pretty messy with notifications firing off for every little change. What about those script quotas that you mentioned earlier?
Right. Yeah, that's where things like batch processing and careful trigger management come in. Think of it like this. Imagine you have to send out 100 invitations. You wouldn't write out each one individually and address each one by hand right.
No way. I'd probably create a template and print them all at once.
Exactly. That's kind of similar to batch processing. So instead of your script reacting to every single little change in the spreadsheet, you can set it up to process the data in chunks. This really cuts down on the load and helps you avoid hitting those quota limits.
So it's less about constantly monitoring every little detail and more about strategically choosing what to focus on and how often you're going to check it.
Right. And that's where triggers are so powerful. They're like the instructions that you give your script on when to take action.
Okay.
So a trigger could be set for something as simple as a specific time of day. Like every morning at 8 a.m., check this column for any new entries and send me a summary report.
Okay, that makes sense. That's so much more efficient than me going in and checking everything manually every morning.
Right.
And it just opens up so many possibilities.
Yeah.
You mentioned triggers being tied to specific values earlier. Can you give me an example of what that would look like?
Absolutely. Let's say you're tracking investments in your spreadsheet. You could set a trigger that says if the value of a certain stock drops below a certain price, Send me an alert.
Okay.
So you don't have to obsessively check the market every hour. You know, your spreadsheet's kind of got your back.
So instead of me feeling anxious and constantly refreshing my portfolio, my spreadsheet's like my calm and collected financial advisor.
Exactly. Or imagine you're a small business owner and you're tracking inventory. You could set a trigger that automatically emails your supplier when a certain product dips below a certain level so you never run out.
Oh, wow. No more late night inventory checks.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how these seemingly small automations could really add up to huge time savings and peace of mind.
Right.
And the best part is it's all customized to your own needs and priorities.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your data and making it work for you, not the other way around.
Right.
But here's where things get really interesting. Remember those case studies that you sent over?
Yes.
The one about the real-time project dashboard really caught my eye.
Oh yeah, that was a cool one. It's basically like using AppScript to create a visual representation of a project's progress, complete with automated alerts and updates.
Right. It's like a live video game version of a project plan.
Yeah.
And it highlights the power of combining conditional formatting with those notifications. So imagine a Gantt chart where any tasks that become overdue, they automatically turn red. But you've also got those email alerts that go out and notify the project manager, the team members, everybody who needs to know.
So you're getting both that visual snapshot of how the project's doing and the proactive communication all at the same time.
Exactly.
So it's not just about having the data, it's about presenting it in a way that is informative and actionable. It's turning that raw data into a story that everyone can understand.
Exactly. And that's what takes AppScript beyond just automating tasks. It's letting you create dynamic systems that actually adapt and respond in real time.
Okay, now you're making my head spin a bit, but in a good way. This is seriously blowing my mind.
And we haven't even talked about the future possibilities yet. Like, imagine your spreadsheet learning from your patterns, proactively suggesting solutions, or even flagging potential problems before they even happen.
Hold on. Machine learning in spreadsheets. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It's closer than you think. We're already seeing early examples of this, like spreadsheets predicting future sales based on past trends or identifying patterns in customer behavior.
So it's not just about reacting to what's already happened, but actually anticipating what might happen next and adjusting accordingly.
Exactly. And the notifications themselves, they're evolving too. We're talking multi-channel notifications, getting alerts through text messages, voice assistants, or even directly within other apps that you use every day.
Wow, that changes everything. Having that information come to you exactly where and when you need it, seamlessly integrated into your workflow.
It's all about creating a more intuitive and responsive data experience. And I think that's the big takeaway here. Even if you don't see yourself as someone who's going to write complex code, just understanding what's possible with AppScript can completely change how you think about managing data.
I completely agree. Like you said earlier, it's about shifting our mindset from seeing spreadsheets as these static tools to dynamic partners that help us work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will inspire some of our listeners to unlock their inner spreadsheet superhero.
Or at the very least, see the amazing possibilities that are hiding within those seemingly humble grids.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this segment, I'd love to hear from our listeners. What are some tasks or processes in your lives that you think could benefit from the power of AppScript? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going.
It's funny, before we started this whole deep dive, I thought I knew my way around a spreadsheet pretty well, but after exploring AppScript, I feel like I've just scratched the surface.
It really is amazing, isn't it? Like there's this whole other dimension of functionality inside this tool that we use pretty much every single day.
And what's exciting is that it's not just about the technical stuff. It's really about empowering people to take control of their data,
Yeah.
automating their workflows, gaining these insights that they wouldn't have even known about before.
I think that's exactly what makes it so compelling for so many people. It's not just about crunching numbers. It's about using data to actually solve problems,
Right.
make better decisions.
Yeah.
Ultimately, just make our lives a little easier.
And maybe even a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want their spreadsheet to text them when their favorite band announces a show in their town?
Exactly. It's about bringing a little bit of that magic back into a tool that can often feel pretty dry and technical.
So as we wrap up this incredible deep dive into the world of AppScript,
Mm,
I want to leave our listeners with a few key takeaways.
go for it.
First, don't be intimidated by the whole coding aspect.
Mm,
There are so many resources out there, tutorials, forums, online communities.
mm.
They're all designed to help you learn at your own pace.
And you definitely don't have to become a coding expert overnight. Even understanding those basic principles can unlock a lot of possibilities.
Second, think beyond just the traditional ways that we use spreadsheets.
Yeah,
Don't just limit yourself to budgets and to-do lists. Look for those opportunities to automate stuff, track data in interesting ways, and build systems that work for you, not against you.
that's it. Think about those problems you face in everyday life, at work, at home, in your hobbies. Could AppScript help you streamline something, gain valuable insight, or just save some time and energy?
And lastly, don't be afraid to just experiment. That's the beauty of AppScript. You can customize so much and be creative. Try things out, see what works, and don't get discouraged if it doesn't go perfectly the first time.
Yeah, embrace that spirit of exploration. The more you play around with AppScript, the more you realize just how powerful it can be.
I think that's a great note to end on. Expert speaker, it's always been a pleasure diving into these topics with you.
The pleasure is all mine.
And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us on this adventure. Keep those spreadsheets dynamic and never stop learning.